Okay, we'll just wait for this.
Hello and welcome to the second of the Rouvy Real Spring Classics races. Today we are tackling Scarlino Scalo, which is a rolling course in the beautiful Italian region of Tuscany. So first of all, you must be thinking, who are we? I am Kira Vitti and this is...
I'm Jacob Hennessy, I'm a professional cyclist for Canyon DHB.
And we are your hosts for today. So Rouvy, the app that this race is on, is an augmented cycling app, and if you want to know how to use it, we're going to watch a video on how to do that now. I am here at home, currently in my kitchen, and I'm about to get on my indoor smart trainer and set up Rouvy. So let's go. So step number one, get yourself a bike, get yourself a smart trainer, and get yourself some cycling kit and get on that smart trainer and bike that you currently have. Step two is you're going to want to download the Rouvy AR app on your phone. I've just downloaded mine now. So I'm going to open up my phone, don't look at my password. Okay. Okay, so now I'm in the app. I've just signed in to my avatar, which is ginger_biscuit, obviously. This is my little character in the game. And then I press start. Now what it's going to do now, it's already connected up to my smart trainer at the minute. But you can connect your power sources, your heart rate, all that sort of thing. And then you're on your way. There I am. Off I go. Up North Applegate. Loving life. Massive. So now you know hopefully a little bit more about Rouvy. We actually did a race very similar to this up Mont Ventoux on, when was it? Friday. And one of the racers, Louise Gibson, has her opinion on how it went.
Hi, I'm Louise. I'm one of the internationals. We're a women's team that rides the full route of the Tour de France a day before the pros in a move for equality. I heard about Rouvy a couple of days ago and then found myself on Friday night in a race up Ventoux. It's an online cycling app which lets you race or just train on real roads but in the comfort of your home. It was pretty full on. I found myself holding about 250 watts for nearly an hour and a half, which is way more than I should have been doing on my training plan on Friday, but I'm competitive, so I couldn't resist. It's a really fun app. There's another race on tonight, 5 o'clock, and on Tuesday as well. It's the Spring Classics, and it's on Rouvy, so check out the app. It's brilliant.
Richard, can you show us the race, please, or the start of the race? Okay, so I think we are about to get underway with the race. We're just seeing up what is going on now on our screen. So Rouvy Racing is an augmented reality program, so it shows you the road as it is in real life, as if you were to be on the road itself, or alternatively it's kind of the same as sort of a Google Maps Street View video-esque type thing, but it allows you to ride the real course as it comes in real life, and it just adjusts to your smart turbo trainer using the software provided, and it sort of creates resistance as you go. I think we are now getting the race underway, and we've got over, again, a huge group of people getting involved. this is a much flatter race in comparison to the race we had the other day at Mont Ventoux. So this is a lot more sort of your brute force and ignorance style of racing, as opposed to the finesse and the watts per kilo that we had the other day. This is definitely one for the slightly bigger units, and the more powerful riders are going to push to the front and sort of press their way off.
Definitely. So the riders have 17.1 miles to tackle today. They're going from Scarlino Scalo to the coastal town of Castiglione della Pescaia, which sounds really nice. So, as Jake said, this is a much more rolling course, and therefore it's not going to split up as much as we saw in the Mont Ventoux race earlier. Louise, who we had on earlier, said she was at pretty much threshold for about an hour and a half with that one. So I think this will be a slightly shorter race and one for those with a bit more power. So looking at the screen now, currently in the lead I'm amazed how many of these Czech riders are just absolutely smashing it.
They're all big unit mountain bikers, and they did well on that Ventoux stage, but this definitely suits them with, like we said, the big power that you need to do this. It's not really so much like a finesse, work your way and pace yourself. It's kind of just smash it up the little climbs and then pace yourself and try and hold a good speed and then whack it again up another climb. If you have any questions, we are on Instagram, we're on Facebook and YouTube. If you've got any questions, let us know, and we'll try and answer them as we're going along. We have... They are just going over that first little pitch, and that is...
Which doesn't look like much, but you do feel it. And if you're using a smart trainer, which all of these riders will be to partake in this race, they are going to start feeling that gradient actually in real time as they see the incline on the road.
Yeah, so I actually used it for the first time the other day, and I rode the Chris Hoy 100, I believe. It's a 15-kilometre ride around sort of the Yorkshire area, and it's some roads that I've actually done. And it was kind of weird to see the road on the screen as I'm riding along, but it wasn't any easier than it is in real life. It's really hard. It kicks up to 24% towards the end, and on the turbo it just almost locks the turbo out, and you really have to try and push the gear.
It was so funny. I just come down into the kitchen. It was just like a massive puddle of sweat everywhere.
The thing is, because I was in the smallest gear, and you're just pushing 600 plus watts just to move the bike, which is what you would do in real life. But obviously on the road it feels a little bit less strenuous, because on the turbo you are just sort of flicking over the top. The bike stays straight.
So sorry to interrupt, just looking at the screen now at the race, and it seems that we have a breakaway of 2 riders. Jan Scarlino and Jan Vastil, our winner from the other day. They are both absolutely destroying each other. They seem to have about 13 metres on the rest of the group, and they might, is it 3 in the front group now? I think it might be.
He's just closing up now. Yeah, that is. That's 3 in the front group. They are all still very close together at the front. It's sort of splitting into small groups over, just as we said, over that first little kick up, just to then split it over the first little climb. And they're going to go downhill now, running up towards the first split. We actually have a bit of info on this stage, and the fastest time recorded on Rouvy is a 44-minute 55 seconds. So you'd be hoping that these guys today racing on it might try and go for that record, but that was done, and that's still 4.5 watts per kilo, but that's set by someone who is a big unit and can punch out some big power.
But looking at this, if they continue at this sort of pace, they are on the pace, as it were, to break the course record on Rouvy. So they're all at the minute riding at high 5 watts per kilo,
all
and
400 watts
6
plus, really.
Watts per kilo. Impressive.
All around the 400 watt mark still.
Okay, so we've just got some more facts and figures up on the screen. We are looking at Martin Stoshek at the minute. He's doing over 6 watts per kilo, well over his FTP there, and you can see how much speed he's managing to hold whilst on the back of this front group. So the time gaps aren't as big as we saw a couple of days ago, but they're starting to really feel it in the legs now, and people are starting to come
10
unstuck.
minutes in, you can kind of bluff for 10 minutes, especially on this sort of thing. You can really bluff for 10 minutes and just say, I can keep going. But then once you sort of get to that 15-minute mark, the 20-minute marks, when it really starts to bite, and
Definitely.
That's when the
I'm just looking at a few questions from Instagram. Someone's saying that they can't afford it.
Well,
but
Rouvy,
go on, you say.
Rouvy is actually free for 30 days. So if you go onto race.rouvy.com and you just fill out your email address, click it, and it will give you a little code below. You can download the app, put in the code, and then you can use Rouvy for 30 days, and it gives you plenty of time to go tick off some of the top 100 climbs in the UK if you really want. You can do Stelvio. They did Ventoux the other day in the race. It's just a really good way of sort of pushing yourself and trying to get that intensity when maybe you can't get outside. So just looking at the live stream now, we're currently just down below us. You can see Sam Yaroche from the Rouvy Specialised Cycling Team. If you don't think these guys are racing flat out, then just take a look at Sam down here. He is really leathering it. He's out the saddle in the hurt locker. So Tuscany is known as the home of many famous pro cyclists. Where do you think is actually the best place to live and train for a professional cyclist? I think I think with the amount of pros that you get now coming out of Belgium, I think you're hard pushed to look past Belgium. Because in Belgium you
Plus
can race...
you just love Belgium.
I do love
what
Belgium.
What if you're a climber?
No, you just race Belgium. Only
just Belgium.
In Belgium, it's different because for a pro during the season, if you wanted to go live in Belgium, you can race the pro comesses and the normal comesses, which are super high intensity, super hard racing. And you'd really struggle to sort of get that form training on your own. So I think that's definitely a good place to go. However, you do see a lot of pros go to live in places like Andorra. A lot of pros don't really need all that much training for racing because they're already doing 80, 90 race days in a season. But I still think you'd be hard pushed to look past Belgium, especially with all the people that are racing there. So we are now trying to see where we are.
We're currently following Jan Bastille and Jan Scarlino, who are off the front currently.
We had a question on Instagram: Wout van Aert or Mathieu van der Poel?
Oh, Mathieu van der Poel, because I met him and he thought I was cool.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't, but he agreed to get a photo with me, which, you know, in my book, he thought I was pretty awesome. But I'm sure, I feel like we would be a pretty nice guy as well, but I've just not had a chance to.
Wow.
Woo.
Yeah, wow. Definitely wow. So wow, Van Aert.
Woo.
They're coming up to the first split now, so we'll get an idea of how fast they are going in reference to the record time. The record time through the 6 mile split is
15 minutes and 24 seconds at 6 miles. So what time are we on?
13 minutes.
Have they gone through it yet?
Yeah. I think the first rider's just gone. Here we go. Through now. Yeah, that's a lot faster.
That is big. Okay, so Jan Scarlino has just gone through the first time gap in 13:49, followed 3 seconds behind him by Jan Bastille. So yeah, wow, they are 2 minutes ahead of the fastest ever course time through here. So
we've got a question here on Instagram. It says, are there any workouts on Rouvy to continue pushing on? You've got to make the gap to start with so that people aren't sitting behind you and aren't drafting. But once you've made the gap, it's the same as a bike race outside. Once you've got the gap, you hope that the people with you do it. But again, on a turbo trainer, you have to know that you can continue the effort the whole way to the end because there's no coasting.
But I reckon we should ask Jan Scarlino, because he is currently 200 metres up the road and holding the gap. So we should ask him, really.
Gap, yeah.
Occasionally knows things. And I know a little bit about cycling also.
So there is actually the rumour that the Rouvy race programme will actually be holding the Tour de Suisse this year. They'll be doing a pro rider. He's a GC rider.
Nah, I reckon he can do a good breakaway.
Nope.
Yes.
Wrong. He definitely could do a good breakaway. I wouldn't want to be in a break with Thibaut Pinot. Someone like that. Someone at right.
I think he's kind of halfway between breakaway rider and GC contender.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No. Maybe.
Maybe.
I think maybe. Are you thinking of Tige Benoit?
No, I'm not thinking of Tige Benoit. I'm thinking of Thibaut Pinot. You know, the French guy.
But
why is it all French riders?
No, Vauclair, isn't it?
Pinot. They're all kind of like very passionate with their facial.
I think in this day and age, you're looking at more your De Gents and your DeMarquis and people that are consistently pushing.
Anyone with a "duh" in the middle of their name, pretty much. You can't go wrong.
It's an all-out, flat-out time trial with a few little sprints inside. Also, I noticed on the Instagram we had somebody say Chris Froome as the best. Somebody say Chris Froome is the best breakaway rider, and to be honest, you'd be hard pushed to find someone better than Froome. That was one of the most.
That is true, but he's GC.
He is.
You were saying I couldn't have T-Bone easy spin or something.
Do you think the tour will go ahead?
Ooh.
The question we've had on Instagram.
No.
I'm very sceptical of it as well. I'm very sceptical of the Tour. I think even if the Tour does go ahead, I heard something about they were saying maybe not letting people watch it.
I don't think that's right.
I just don't think that's the right thing to do. I think it's more or less just about looking after everyone at the minute and just wait until this is all over and then start up again. They're not going to fade towards the end because they've got the power for this, but it's going to be impressive to see who can lift it towards the end, because the gap between first and second is only 60 metres, which is nothing.
It's all to play for still at the moment. So there's a few more.
There is a gradual gradient, or to do a steep climb and just repeat, but the only way you're going to do it is it's going to be a lot of climbing. It's just practice doing things like that. So
they have just gone through split number 2, and the time is, I cannot see the time. 1 second.
28 minutes 48 seconds.
28:48.
So that is 4 minutes now. So originally it was a minute and a half faster. We are now 4 minutes up.
Which says to me that it wouldn't surprise me if they would be around maybe under 40 minutes for the whole distance. I think they're going to be under 40 minutes for this whole distance, the top riders. So you were saying about training for Everesting.
Yeah, I just think you're going to have to repeat the same.
And for those of you who don't know what Everesting is, it is riding up and down a climb until you
meters, isn't it?
have hit the same amount of elevation as Everest, which I think is 8,600 meters.
Someone can comment below and tell us what it is. You have a friend that's done Everest before.
Yes, one of my best friends, Leanna Kate James, is part of the House 500.
Yeah,
she has completed an Everest in Australia somewhere.
Yeah, there you go, 29,029 feet. There you go.
That's far.
There's a serious amount of climbing. So with my cycling, for instance, I started off racing. I just joined the local cycling club. They said there was a bike race around the corner. I went to the bike race. I won the bike race, and it was sort of a bit of a wow, that was kind of cool. And then I did another bike race. I won the next bike race. And then after this, it's sort of like, I was like, actually, I could maybe do okay at this. So then I started actually really training because I hadn't really ridden a bike before this. I was only riding a BMX and other things like that. I used to race motocross, which was where a lot of bike handling came from. And then I sort of kept going. I was lucky enough to ride with race team in the UK, Spirit Bikes, and they helped me out and sort of took me on board and taught me a little bit about how to sort of look after myself and how to race and things like that. And then I would have been, how old would I have been at the time? I started racing when I was just nearly 19, 18, something around then. I was just doing it just in my spare time. I ended up winning a lot of races that year, and I won one of the elite races that we have in the UK. And that then put me on the radar, and I went off to do some testing with the national team. And the national team took me on, and then they said, yeah, okay, so you can race with us next year. So I raced for the GB national team, and I did all of the Nations Cups, all of the under 23 racing that year, Tour of Flanders, Tour de l'Avenir. I did a lot of those. I won the biggest race still of my life, which is Ghent-Wevelgem. So I won the under 23 Ghent-Wevelgem, which was a huge day and a massive thing for me. And that sort of a lot of other opportunities. And since then, I've just sort of been living the dream and racing with different teams here and there. Cycling's one of those weird sports. You do get injured. You can't expect to not get injured and not get sick, but it does really make a difference if you can try and not get sick.
Sorry to interrupt you, Jake. We are looking just below us on the Facebook and YouTube live stream. You're going to be able to see our good friend Sam Yarosh absolutely smashing himself 2 pieces. He's looking considerably sweatier than we saw him 10 minutes ago, unsurprisingly so. And we are coming up to the final section. We only have 5-6 miles left to go at this point.
Yeah, it's all downhill. if you look, predominantly a downhill run, a few small kick-ups, but it is a predominantly downhill run to the finish line now. And they are, I'm trying to see how far they've done. They've done 22.4k, and they've done that in 33 minutes. So they are riding at speeds of around 40k's an hour.
And if you look at a lot of them are bashing out well over 5 watts per kilo. And currently at the minute we're following the leader, and he is tickling 400 watts or just below.
Tickling 400.
Yes.
I'm sure it's more than a tickle. I'm sure it's starting to really hurt.
Yes.
But he still doesn't have a lot. He can't really rest up at all because he does only have around 100.
And as you're speaking,
it's been pulled back 70 metres
70 metres.
On the climb.
It's coming down. Martin Stoshek is making a bit of a last-minute surge.
Try and pull that gap back.
Yes.
He is right on him. There is no difference between those two.
Question on Instagram, Jake. What team do you ride for?
So I ride for Canyon DHB, just behind us there. I ride for Canyon DHB. I did do last year as well. I'm fortunate enough to ride for them this year as well. It's a really good team. I know a lot of the people from the team from when I first started cycling as well, and they're really
Chris
good.
Fixed asked, are they risking it for a biscuit? Yes, they 100% are. That's my catchphrase.
Except now we're not risking it for a biscuit because we don't want to get sick. So we're not fully risking it for a biscuit, but we are risking it for some biscuits.
Occasional biscuits. Maybe like not the full chocolate hobnob,
There's
but
going to
just
be a lot of people
the
who don't know
standard
what
hobnob.
we're talking about now.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway.
So if you're completely confused, my surname is McVitie, hence the biscuit referencing.
We've got some time. So we've got another question here. How do I get started racing as a junior? You're probably the best person to talk to about that.
Why?
Because you raced as a junior. I didn't.
Oh, yes. I did race as a junior. I thought that was like a burn.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I'm not sure how it could be a burn, but anyway. How do I get started racing as a junior?
So I would say the biggest thing is to just immerse yourself in as many types of racing as you can. Try it all, especially when you're younger. Try a bit of cyclocross, try mountain biking, try track, try road, and just speak to as many people as you can and try and work out what parts you enjoy and don't enjoy. And that's going to help you work out what genre of cycling is best for you. And then from there, there's so many, GCN is great. There's so many videos online about how to build a training program, how to prepare for your first race. So in terms of those specifics, I'd recommend checking out GCN and loads of articles online. But I would say
I think a really key point as well,
get involved.
If you're starting out and you are young and you're starting racing as a junior, just take it as it comes and enjoy the process of the sport. Don't try and train like a professional athlete. Don't go all out for that. Just try and enjoy it, and you will get faster as you're enjoying it, because it's a lot of the sport is mental. So if you're enjoying it in your head and you know that you're enjoying something, then you'll be going.
Plus, you are still so young as a junior, and Jake didn't even race as a junior and still managed to make it as a professional.
I didn't know what cycling was until 2014. And that's not a joke. Even with the Wiggins thing, this sounds stupid, but even with Bradley Wiggins doing what he did, I genuinely didn't know what cycling was. Like, I had no idea. And I worked in a bike shop, which is even more embarrassing. So we are now back on board with Jan.
We are coming into the last 2 kilometres, or approximately 1 mile to go. And Jan Scarlino is currently in front. He is 100 metres in front at the minute.
Still holding
to
that 100
Martin
metre gap.
Stoshek, but can he bring it back?
I wonder if these guys will be taking part in the pro version of the Tour de Suisse.
Potentially, yeah. And they've definitely got a head start, having a bit of practice
I do think,
Rouvy.
I was thinking this before, with racing like something like the Tour de Suisse, if it does take part on Rouvy and it is a fully fledged professional bike race, and they just take the Tour de Suisse and just put it on turbo trainers, I think it could be awesome, because I feel like the person who wins might not be the person you expect. Because it's not necessarily maybe the sprinter that would win the sprint stage. It might just be that person that can ride a turbo trainer better than other people, because it does make a difference if you don't practice on a turbo.
Well, I think people will be getting their practice in now.
I think people will definitely get practice in.
Okay, so we're coming in to the last kilometre and a half. Exactly a mile. Just under a mile.
Mm.
Are you impressed with my mile to kilometre conversions?
I am. You've been trying. Well, you just knew that one, didn't you? That's why you've been waiting to say it.
I know, yeah.
We are now down to around the final K, and Jan Scarlino is still pushing on. He still has around the 100-metre gap. Unfortunately, Martin Stoshek has not been able to pull it back, and Jan Scarlino is actually punching out still well over 400 watts. He's definitely going to be well within the record time. It's a slight downhill run now. It sort of flattens out and it runs downhill to the last bit.
Well, I think special mention to Lucas Kopecky, who's in third place, who we've not really mentioned at all. He is only
300 metres back.
300 metres back.
300 metres back, and he's in his own little battle as well with Jan Vastil, who won on the Von 2 stage.
And so impressive that Jan Vastil is still up there and competing in this stage, considering that Von 2 stage was
that would have been a super
brutal.
hard effort. That would have been a really hard effort, especially on a turbo. It seems to take it out of your legs. Like really, I don't know, because it's sort of that sort of pressure of riding. I don't know.
It's just always on, isn't it? You're
It's
constantly keeping the chain tight.
So we are now right up to now with Jan Scarlino. We've gone dark, and there we are. We're back on last couple of 100 metres now. Jan Scarlino pushing onto the finish line. He's going to take the win. 100 metres or so in front of Martin Stoshek, and it's definitely going to be a new record time. It's going to be just over the 40 minutes, so they sort of lost a little bit of time to what we thought they would be pulling, but he's going to take the win. The record time previously was 44 minutes 55.
So they have taken over 4 minutes out of this course record. Seriously impressive ride. And if I do say so, Castiglione della Pescaia is looking real nice.
Yeah.
It's looking good.
There we go. And that's the win. There you go.
So your winner of Rouvy Real Spring Classics, Scarlino Scalo, is Jan Scarlino, who, if you're wondering, is a professional mountain bike rider for Cyclostar Trek Mercedes-Benz Praha.
Perfect. And
Praha
Martin Stoshek in Future Cycling North Wave, he's a professional cyclist also. Both mountain bikers, I believe. Both mountain bikers. Super powerful guys. This is definitely one of those courses that suits the big engines, and that's definitely a record time. So,
in fact, all of the top three have beaten the course record. We're just waiting to see who else will beat it. Jan Vastil in fourth. Jan Snaber in fifth. And these guys are still...
So Andre Sink, we haven't even mentioned Andre Sink, but Andre Sink, the former professional cyclist on the road, now a professional mountain bike rider with Cross Racing Team, finishing, I think it was 9th in Vuelta a Andalucía.
I think it was 7th, but we'll just...
I think, we're
not sure exactly.
I think it was 9th. I'm pretty sure it was 9th.
Oh, yes, you're right, 9th.
Vuelta a Andalucía, see? I knew that. Who has raced the Tour before. He has now finished... He's finished 6th place, 1 minute 21 down on the leader, Jan Scarlino.
But to be honest, the whole top 10 is ahead of the previous Rouvy course record, so there's nothing to be sniffed at.
I think there's going to be a lot of people. I think there's going to be a lot of people underneath that course record, because that just shows how hard they raced this whole course.
So coming through now, we have 7th place. This is Bohemir Dobez. It's hard because people don't have their real names up. They just have their usernames.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So do you think being a mountain biker then, I know you mentioned a lot of the riders in the front are mountain bikers. Do you think that that helps with road cycling?
up a little bit. If you're a road cyclist, try mountain biking. If you're a mountain biker, try road cycling. Just sort of give them all a bit of a go, because I mean, sort of the sport everyone loves doing anyway. Just give it all a go, and then I think you will end up being better as an all-rounder.
So we are just going to follow Sam Giroche at the moment. He is putting out over 4 watts per kilo at the minute and is coming into the last kilometre. As you can see, there's a lot of people coming in now. This race has been super hard, but they'll be glad to be finishing it now. This is what we mean,
because Sam Giroche is still actually within time of the record time previously held on here. Sam Giroche is punching out 5.5 watts per kilo, 32. He's 31st, 32nd. He's sort of in his own little battle with a person. He can jump up maybe to 30th because it is only a small gap to there. But this has been a super strong ride.
And if you're following us on YouTube or Facebook, you'll be able to see Sam just below us in the screen. He's looking real sweaty right now, and he is doing his maximal effort now to the finish and absolutely smashing it. Sam rides for the Rouvy specialised cycling team, which I believe is a professional team in the Czech Republic.
Yeah, super strong. Another mountain biker as well, just a super solid rider. And he's doing, as we can see here, running top 30 again with the amount of riders that we actually have out on the road. I believe last time it was around, was it 600, 400 mark or 600 mark?
So in the Mont Ventoux race, we had 460 starters.
460 starters. So to be running up in the front section of that, that's incredible. Again, we're looking at these numbers and you kind of become numb to it after a while, but 5.5 watts per kilo, still punching out 400 watts 40 minutes in. That's a serious ride. A serious ride. And now Sam Giroche coming up to the finish line just around that record time as well. There we are, as he crosses the line.
So he has done 45 minutes and 33 seconds. So he was just a touch slower than the previous course record.
But again,
obviously the new course record, 40 minutes and 33 seconds. Do you reckon you could beat that?
I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like these people are quite good. Like, they're good bike riders. That is an incredible time there.
Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us with this. If you're interested to try Rouvy, you can try it for free for 30 days. If you go to www.race.rouvy.com, you can sign up, you put in your email, you get a code, and there you go, 30 days. And you can give some training a go. And also we've got another race on Tuesday, which you can get involved with.
Perfect. And then also, while you're on board, you can just jump on and try out the top 100 climbs that are currently uploaded now, and just see what you think. And join us again Tuesday. Let us know what you've thought of the app and of us on here. And
lovely. Thanks so much.
Thanks
Bye.
very much.